But this really was a sad day for Rugby League, and what a pity it should happen, because we'd seen a superb game up to then. 58 minutes had gone. Leigh were leading 26 points to 14, and we really had seen some superb football. Leigh had raced into an 18-0 lead with tries from Phil Fox, 2 from Phil Fox, 1 from Derek Pike, 3 goals from John Woods. Then Oldham came back. Sinclair and Taylor got a try. Parish kicked 2 goals, 18-12, and then Des Drummond a try converted by Woods just before half-time. And it had been a real end-to-ender. There was a little bit of tackling that possibly left a lot to be desired on both sides, but nevertheless it had been a superbly entertaining game. Woods and Parish had each kicked a penalty goal in the second half for the respective teams, and then Tony Cottrell, the second-row forward of Leigh, was sent to the sin bin for 10 minutes for an offence on Tom Nadoli, the Oldham substitute forward. Then in the 58th minute it was Nadoli again, and the man involved on this occasion was Shane Varley. And it appeared from our view in the stands that Shane Varley was the aggressor in the particular incident. A couple of players went in to separate the two of them after Nadoli had retaliated, and after a little bit of a break while the referee John Mean conferred with one of his touch judges, he then awarded a scrum. He gave Leigh head and ball. Whether this was the cause of Oldham being perhaps feeling a little bit aggrieved, I wouldn't know, but certainly that scrum broke up 2 groups of players, began to fight in different areas, and the referee eventually, after a minute or so, just blew his whistle, signalled that he'd abandoned the game and walked off the field. And so in the 58th minute we had the game abandoned. The referee, we thought initially that the referee could possibly have taken them off for 5 minutes for a cooling off period, but he didn't. He'd finished the game completely, and it would appear, although obviously it's a decision that will have to come to the Rugby League Council, that the game will now have to be replayed, with 60 minutes normally being the minimum that is allowed for a result to stand. Well, after the game, it took a little while for everybody to cool down a little bit, but once they had, I went into the Leigh dressing room. I spoke with the Leigh coach Tommy Bishop, and this is what he had to say about the game and the incident.
You know, that's not good for Rugby League, and I don't send my sides to put out to get involved in brawls. It erupted, and I was very disappointed the game was abandoned, because I felt that we had the game well in hand, and obviously Oldham had to do something about it, and I wasn't very pleased at the way they went about it.
Well, certainly you played the better football, hadn't you, and looked the better side.
Well, that's obvious. The scoreline says that.
But it seemed to erupt almost out of nothing, didn't it?
Yeah, well, it did. And I don't want to be... I've got to bite my tongue a little bit in this situation, because obviously there's going to be a report to the Rugby League, and we'll be stating our case very strongly.
One wondered, in fact, whether the referee may have taken them off just for, say, 5 minutes to cool down and then brought them back. But you think that he was right in abandoning the game?
Definitely out of order. I think in them situations, I've saw good referees over the years, Dennis Davis, people like that. Anything got out of hand, they brought the 2 captains together, had a word with them, and things were settled down. But what happened after the incident, a scrum was put down, and then the game erupted.
And really, to put a scrum down after the first incident is perhaps not the best thing to do, because of course you're putting the players together again, aren't you, in a situation where conflict can arise.
Well, that was suicide, really.
But the point you raised earlier about bringing the 2 captains together, I don't think I saw the referee speak to the 2 captains.
No, that was never done. And as I said, I saw some great referees over the past. Eric Clay, who had control of the games, the players respected him, and anything that went wrong, the captains were called together, and any more, the particular players in the incident were sent off, and that's how it should be.
Well, of course we've got the sin bin now. Is that making a difference, do you think? Do you think that referees are sending players to the sin bin when really they should be sent off?
Well, I think I've expressed my feelings before about the sin bin, and I think it's a very bad rule. The all referees didn't need it, and the all referees got respected by the players. And if there's an incident and a foul in a game, and it's bad enough to warrant sending off, it should be sent off. 10 minutes in the sin bin is not going to help the game of rugby league, in my opinion.
And in the end of the day, of course, as we say, it was a bad thing for rugby league, because anything that brings discredit on the game, and this obviously is bound to do it harm.
Definitely. I thought the game as a whole was a great, entertaining game of football. I wasn't very happy about a lot of aspects. But, you know, it's bad for the game of rugby league, and I don't like to see things like that. Rugby league's a man's game, a hard game. And you've got to play it hard and fair. And when things like this happen to the game, it's no good.
Tommy Bishop, the league coach. Well, Peter Smethurst, the Oldham coach, was of the same opinion, that it was a sad day for rugby league.
It's the worst day of my career in rugby league, this is, Ron. There's no way I condone anything that went on that field. But I think, you know, I don't call referees, but I think the referee was at fault in this incident. The incident which erupted and had policemen on the field was a disgrace to rugby league, and I don't want to be associated with anything like that in no way, shape or form.
And really, there was no hint that it was going to happen, was it? Because, you know, there'd been no problems. It had been a superb game to watch.
There was no problems, Ron. There was a bit of slack tackling on both sides, but having said that, you know, some of the tries that were scored was magical tries. You know, we got back in the game, and then we give a try away right on the half-time hooter. But having said that, there was nothing untowards in it. You know, I mean, you say Leigh are not a physical side, neither are we a physical side, and there was nothing going. So, you know, it's up to the referee to stamp his authority and stamp this nonsense out.
And of course it all started off with nothing, didn't it? Just one tackle.
Well, previous to that, they'd got one man sent into the sin bin. He'd been a little bit naughty, but having said that, you know, you expect these things in a physical contact game. But the initial incident, what caused all this rumpus, was Shane Varley came in to Tom Nadoli, and he hit him with the head, you know what I mean, and it all erupted from then, and the referee then got hold of him, you know, and it was a bit of a free-for-all. And I thought to myself, well, we'll get a free kick here. Well, he sent them both off to the sin bin for 10 minutes. You know, and to me that was terrible. That's what started it. And then to top it all, he give a scrum down and give Leigh the head and ball. That when, you know, that we was had the ball, and Shane Varley had done this. And I think that sparked the incident, and then it all erupted then, and I think the referee just lost control.
And really, it's probably not the best thing to put them down in a scrum straight away after the initial incident. It would have been better possibly to have given the penalty kick and kept them apart for a few minutes.
Good referees always keep sides apart, because when it gets a little bit warm, Ron, and I've been involved in games when it gets a bit warm and you know, they rise to the occasion, a good referee penalises them, has another kick, you know, down the field, keeps them apart, and if there's anything by chance, offside, a slight offside, he just keeps them away for that initial cooling period of a minute or two, and it all cools down. Good referees should keep players apart, but it just boiled over and it was disgraceful. I apologise to the fans for the simple reason I don't want to be associated with that sort of business, and I'm sure the players, you know, in their own minds don't like that at all.
Do you think that he was right to abandon the game completely like that, or do you think he should have possibly brought them off maybe for 5-10 minutes to cool off?
I thought he should have brought them off for 5 or 10 minutes and let the game progress from there. The thing is, it's the easy way out to abandon a game. To think to yourself that you've robbed people of 25 minutes football, and like you've said, it was an entertaining game. Even though I was on the receiving end of a beating, we could still have come back and probably, you know, won it. All sorts of things can happen in 20-25 minutes in a game like that, and they was down to 12 men before Varley got sent off. And the thing is, you know, if we could have got ourselves going again, because we scored 2 quick tries, as Leigh scored 2 quick tries. It's so easy when you're down and widen the ball out. But I think he should have sent him off for 5 or 10 minutes and let him cool down, and then started the match again.
But clearly both clubs are going to have a considerable amount of trouble now from the league with this incident, haven't they?
And so they should, for the simple reason. It's hard for the club, though, to get players with discipline. But I've said this, and I'll say it again. I have discipline in myself, and I want my players to have discipline. But the thing is, if they lose control of the referee and the officials, that is a sad day for rugby league. That is no good. The thing is, people have got to be disciplined, and they've got to adhere to the rules. And the rules state there should be no brawling. So we've got to take the consequences.
Ron Marler there with exclusive interviews with Leigh coach Tommy Bishop and Oldham coach Peter Smethurst following this afternoon's game at Watersheddings. Oldham 14, Leigh 26, and the game abandoned after 58 minutes.